Yeah, we'd be talking about the four river valleys, who are Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Yellow River, and the Indus Valley. Hey! Egypt was born on the Nile River. Life in this place was quite a thriller. Unlike the Tigris and Euphrates, the Nile River flooded most safely. Egypt had the old, middle, and new, and like the others, they had a random system too. When the kingdom turned new, the women's rights surely came through. Hieroglyphics consisted of pictures and symbols. To learn this stuff was not quite simple. The people were led by a pharaoh, and if they were successful, the kingdom would grow. They believed in many gods and an afterlife. The undertakers would cut you open with a knife. Most famous for their architecture, pyramids, the Great Sphinx, which were hard to configure. By 1100 BCE, the civilization began to decline. Unfortunately, this was the end of their time. Yeah, we'd be talking about the four river valleys, who are Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Yellow River, and the Indus Valley. Hey! Now let's talk about the Indus Valley and all the things that you would see. An area surrounded by mountains and hills, thanks to trade and merchants counting their bills. They traded through the Khyber Pass, an area which yielded large amounts of cash. We learn a lot from their organized city, which had local governments and committees. The major cities were Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, and their industries a crazy cash flow. They were also polytheistic, and their economy was slightly capitalistic. Starting in 1900 and ending in 1500 BCE, the Indus Valley crumbled, unfortunately. Yeah, we'd be talking about the four river valleys, who are Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Yellow River, and the Indus Valley. Hey! Now we're gonna talk about the Yellow River. All the action happened downriver. Shang Dynasty were the first rulers. Military was very impressive. A sense of security was always detected. The cities along the River of Sorrows were well organized like Mohenjo-daro. Their workers were very skilled. There was not one thing they couldn't build. Under their rule, China was isolated. With Mesopotamia, they only traded. China was ethnocentric. This belief showed they were egocentric. The family structure was led by the oldest male. In this system, they would rarely fail. In 1100 BCE, the Shang were ousted by Wu Wang. Yeah, we'd be talking about the four river valleys, who are Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Yellow River, and the Indus Valley. Hey! In 3000 BCE, the ones who are known to be the Sumerians came to Mesopotamia. The land was called the Fertile Crescent. The Tigris and Euphrates were quite unpleasant. The floods were deadly and unexpected. Stability was never detected. Sumerians were very intelligent, came up with almost all of it, developed a calendar and a wheel and a system of math, geometry as well to survey the land. No one really knows about women during these times. Male scribes were the ones writing those lines. These people were polytheistic, not all that simplistic. Religion played a huge part. That was the case right from the start. Needed a way to explain everything and like, oh my god, what the heck is happening? To please the gods did a human sacrifice, but as they would learn that would not suffice. Each city-state had their own god, which they worshipped as a ziggurat. But in 1700 BCE, the Sumerians, as they came to be, were conquered. The fall of the Sumerians is what they saw. Then they created the first code of law. The city to the north was called Akkad, but like their neighbors below, 1700 BCE was the final blow. Code of Hammurabi, one of the first written codes of law. A very strict legal system is what we saw. Hammurabi's motto was an eye for an eye. Most usual punishment was to die. They had a social hierarchy, a society that was a patriarchy. The wealthy royalty and the warriors and the priests were the top dogs, to say the least. Then the farmers and the artisans were attached to the land. They were the bulk of the workforce who dealt with the problems at hand. Then the lowest class, with slaves and servants, would stay that way until the fall of the Persians. Waves of conquering, first from the Kassites, then a second wave from the Hittites. In the end, success came from the Hittites' legion. They conquered and took over Babylon's region. Assyrians emerged and had rise. In their army, iron was standardized. They had a unique way to rule. They were known to be strict and cruel. Were the first to have libraries and works they would file. If anyone revolted, they would be exiled. Babylon, rebuilt by Nebuchadnezzar, its hanging gardens were fresher than ever. Then came the Persian Empire. Then they set Babylon to fire. The Lydians came up with coined money. It spread around on trade routes that were bright and sunny. The Phoenicians had a mighty strong navy, who sailed around the seas that were crazy wavy. They were the prime traders of the time, going around trading purple dye. They developed a simple alphabet that many adopted. It was 22 letters and had all that they wanted. When the Greeks adopted it, from there it was changed, led to the letters that you see on this page. Then the Hebrews came along. They were monotheistic, unlike all the others who were polytheistic. David proclaimed Jerusalem as the capital. Then King Solomon built the first temple. When their neighbors invaded, they were enslaved. Wasn't until the Persians that the Jews were saved. 600 BCE was all said and done. The Neo-Babylonian was the last one. Hope you guys enjoyed my rap. Just wanted to give y'all a quick recap.